Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. It has been an incredibly busy energy month. We stand at the end of one month on the threshold of another. And as we look back at September, we've had planets coming out of retrograde, we've had planets going into retrograde, we've had that huge RAHU KETU shift, and we're standing on the threshold of a full moon. So a very, very big energy dynamic that we have dancing around us right now. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and please share with your friends. Okay, so let's dive in. So let's do the planets coming out of retrograde first. So on the 13th of September, Jupiter came out of retrograde. And the reason why this was a very good event, a very nice to be celebrated event, is because Jupiter, when he is in retrograde, he kind of just paws over the borders and the boundaries. And all that wisdom, all that knowledge, all that power that we associate with this Jupiter energy kind of is having a fat party and is enjoying himself and not really worrying about the consequences and not really worrying about what the effects of his actions are. It is one of the reasons why we have seen corona that has just gone worldwide, because Jupiter, when he is in retrograde, he just affects everything. There are no borders, there are no boundaries, so it just affects absolutely everything. It's one of the reasons why emotions have escalated, whether it has been stress, whether it's been anxiety or worry or tension or fear. It's kind of like there has been this exaggerated overflowing of energy. So as Jupiter has come out of retrograde and he's now stationing direct, the reason why this is a good thing for us is because it brings back all that energy of knowledge and wisdom and thinking things through and coherence and in authenticity and integrity back on the table. He's gone retrograde in the Vedic sign of Sagittarius, so he's in his own house. An enormously powerful sign, an enormously powerful and beneficial energy that we can leverage. The second planet that has come out of retrograde, and it happened today, the 29th of September, is Saturn. Now, Saturn's energy over the last while has been responsible for all of us being in quarantine, isolating, hermiting ourselves, being shut in, being shut down, locked down, all of these things. Because Saturn's energy likes to imprison, it likes to pull away, it likes to introvert, it likes to pull back from. So now Saturn has been in retrograde in his own house of Capricorn, which is why it has been such monumental hard work. So we've had this energy of explosion and expansion on the Jupiter side. We've had this energy of contracting and pulling in on the Saturn side. And it is actually, as you know, you don't need me to tell you, it's been an incredibly uncomfortable ride. So now as these two grandfather planets come out of retrograde, as they station direct, both in their own house, Saturn now brings this energy of hard work, but effects of our hard work back into play. Whereas before, you know, we were all working very hard, but we weren't able to see the effects of our hard work. We had doors that were shutting around us all the time, and we just felt like we weren't getting anywhere. As Saturn stations direct, now what we will see is that work, yes, it's still hard. Yes, there is still work to be done. But now we can start to see the doors are beginning to open up, and they're beginning to open up. So we're now knocking on those doors, and doors can start opening, as opposed to, as you felt it, knocking on a door and everything just remaining closed and just remaining barricaded and blocked away from us. Now here's the interesting thing, because a lot of people get very worried about a retrograde, and what you have to think when we're talking about a retrograde planet is all the strengths of that planet get maximized during a retrograde period, but also so too do their weaknesses. So the strength of Saturn, when we apply the strength of Saturn, Saturn's energy is meant to push us on an inward journey. He wants us to go inward. He wants us to connect. He wants us to find out who we are on a very, very internal, eternal perspective. He wants us to get to grips with who we are. But when he's in retrograde, it's almost as if the inward journey then becomes very isolated. It becomes almost our own prison. And so here you can see the absolute power that is Saturn, which is know yourself, find yourself, come to an understanding of who you are, go within so you can find the eternal sense of who you are. That's the power. You can see how the not so good qualities, which is we're going to isolate you, we're going to alienate you, we're going to quarantine you, and you're going to do it all by yourself. So here's the very good thing. Both of those big planets, those very huge energies, Jupiter went direct on the 13th. Saturn goes direct today. It's almost as if we can breathe a huge sigh of relief. And astrologers the world over have been saying to us, wait until September. It's a heavy year, it's a heavy year, it's a heavy year. Wait until September. And, you know, it's one of those things that at the beginning of a cycle, when we're saying wait until September, it feels like it's an impossibly long time frame. It feels like it's too far in the future, and it feels like it's really a very heavy slog to get from there to September. But here's the good news. September's here, we've made it. Yes, it's been hard, but the hard slog is behind us. Yes, it's been difficult and alienating and, oh my God, anxiety inducing. But the period that we've all been telling you to wait until is here. And that is just absolutely monumentally powerful. So what we can all do collectively is breathe a huge sigh of relief. Don't expect all the doors to open all at the same time. You know, it took a while for us to get to this point. It's going to take a while for us to get out of this point. But what we can start feeling already now is this energy of the worst is done. The worst is done. Of course, the next big thing that happened is that we had Mars that decided to go retrograde just as the two big planets went direct. Mars decides to go retrograde. Now, a lot of people get very, very nervous about a Mars retrograde. Remember what I said, that the very best of the planet gets exaggerated, but so too does the very worst in a retrograde. So the very best of Mars is logical, direct, focused, strategic, clear thinking, able to lead, knows what he wants to do, able to get out there an enormous amount of energy to create things, to lead things, to make them happen. Mars is the commander-in-chief. Mars is the one who organizes the battlefield and knows who's doing what at what time, able to have an enormous amount of information in his head all at the same time. So Mars has a very, very powerful, potent energy that he contributes into the mix. But now as he goes retrograde, his very best qualities come to the fore, but so too are his very worst qualities. And so we also see this energy of, I know what I'm doing, leave me alone, stubbornness, determination, just get out of my way and let me do what I need to do. This energy of do it my way. So what's it, my way or the highway? You know, come hell or high water. all of this energy is also a very Mars energy. It's an energy that doesn't take fools gladly. It doesn't tolerate idiots. It doesn't tolerate people who just don't seem to be getting it, because Mars thinks very, very quickly, and it's got the strategy in its head. It loses patience with people who just don't get it. Whereas at other times, it might be in a space where it's got more tolerance. In a retrograde, it can get picky, it can get stubborn, it can get, snippy, it can get a little bit stroppy, it can get like, what the hell's going on and why aren't you seeing things my way? It can be bickering, argumentative, frustrated, irritated, all of these things. And so what we have to do, so we have to remember the strengths of Mars. On the one side, super strategic, super intelligent, able to lead, able to see what needs to be done. On the other side here is, for God's sake, get the hell out of my way and let me do it. Just let me take care of it. Let me manage it. You can see that it's creating a space where conflict could happen. Now, here's the interesting thing. The space where Mars is at the moment, what he's asking us to do, don't go off half-cocked into the conflict. Don't attend every argument that you're invited to. Not every argument or confrontation deserves an answer. Mars in this position is asking us to stand in the middle between let me do it my way and get out of my way, you're not doing it right, between taking charge and losing his temper. What we're being asked to do in this space is to occupy the middle path, the non-violent path, the peaceful path, to be in a space where we are able to be absolutely centered, so that we can harness that strategy and we can do what needs to be done. So it is an energy as we go from now all the way through to November. We need to be very aware that Mars has gone retrograde, and I think Saturn's doors are beginning to open. So it gives us the energy to walk through those doors. So a very beautiful effect that Mars is in retrograde gives us those energies to be able to move through those doors. But please just be very mindful that there is potential for discord, there is potential for arguments, for fights, for being in a space of bickering and misunderstandings. And so harness the power of this retrograde and stand in the middle ground so that you are able to have the power and you're able to walk through those open doors. Can you see how that works so beautifully? We're in the shadow period of a Mercury retrograde, and I know that everybody gets really, really frightened with a Mercury retrograde, but here's the interesting thing. When Mars and Mercury get together, they bring the perfect complement for business endeavors. They really do, because Mars has got the energy and Mercury has got the knowledge. Mars has got the power and the ability to work all night, and Mercury has got the strength of the intellect, the coherence, the ability to see the big picture. You could see how bringing these glorious energies together could create a platform for business, for your career, for your strategic development. And so as these two planets are both in retrograde, both at the same time, the message to us is, now that doors are beginning to open up to the outside world, now that wisdom and knowledge and authenticity and integrity is back on the table, now that those two are back, so Jupiter's energies are back and Saturn's energies are back, and doors are beginning to open coherently. Now, as we harness this Mercury Mars retrograde energy, it says, what's the plan, guys? We've spent the last 6 months in a global lockdown. it would be understandable if we went rushing out there without a plan just because we need to get things going. But what it's really asking us to do is say, before you take action, we know you've been in a space of lockdown for the last while, and we know that you've got cabin fever. But before you get out there and take action, make sure you've got a strategy and you've got a strategic direction in mind first. So it is a brilliant energy for planning the business. It is a brilliant energy for sitting down and saying, what are the goals? What are the objectives? What is it that I need to do to get there? So harness the power of this Mars and this Mercury retrograde. They're nothing to be frightened of. The only thing that I will say is, because when these two get together, we can expect that there will be technical glitches. So please back everything up. Make sure that you've got all your systems backed up before we even go very much further. Because these two together, they can fritz computer systems, they can blow light bulbs, they can make things, all sorts of electronic devices go really, really haywire. So just make sure you're backed up from that perspective. But it's a powerful energy, and it's nothing really to be frightened about. The big news, Rahu Ketu shifted. It shifted on the 23rd of September, and again, it's one of the reasons why we can feel that there is a breath of fresh air. Things are beginning to shift. And so Rahu Ketu, they shift every 18 months, and this particular shift is really, really good. Why? Because Rahu is moving into Taurus, where he is exalted, and because he's exalted in Taurus, he takes on very Taurian qualities. So what are Taurian qualities? Well, Taurian qualities, likes the good food, the good comfort, likes to know where the money is coming from, likes predictability, routine, likes to know that there's my bed, there's the pillow, there's the bread and milk. Routine, routine, routine. Action and consequence, action and consequence. Very, very Taurian qualities. To be able to get up to do all the hard work that needs to be required, because we know that Taurus works exceptionally hard and has got the ability to really, really be very solid, very dependable, very accountable, very responsible. So he gets up early in the morning and he plants the seed so that at the end of the day, he's able to go and reap the harvest. This is what Rahu in Taurus is going to give us. It's actually a very, very auspicious energy, and it brings back money, stability onto the table. Now, again, it's not going to happen just like that. It's going to be an energy that we see coming over the next 18 months, that it takes us out of this absolute bloody panic around money, as we see that Taurian energy starting to take root. Remember, you've got to think like a farmer. When we're thinking of Taurus, you've got to think like a farmer. What do I need to plant when? How do I tend for my crops? What is it that I need to do to nurture to make sure that I'm going to get the very best harvest? When's the best time to harvest? How do I store it? How do I take it to market? These are very, very powerful Taurian qualities. Rahu is exalted here. It is just such a brilliant, auspicious energy. Now, the flip side of that is Ketu is going to be in Scorpio. And Ketu is exalted in Scorpio, and it takes on Mars-like, Scorpio-like qualities. So what are they? Well, it's all about truth. It's all about clarity. It's all about strategy, intelligence, smarts. It's all about knowing what is going on. Ketu in Scorpio does not like lies and deceit. And so it raises all of these things that we have been living with for such a long time, of lies, deceits, deceptions, of conspiracy theories, of things that people are believing, and you go, how the hell could you be believing that. It raises all the political lies, all the shenanigans, all the things that have been going on that, you know, we know that there's secrets and lies. Ketu in Scorpio uncovers all of this. So it's a very good energy. It's a little bit disruptive. It's a little bit harsh. It's a little bit shaking of the bars, but it has a very powerful role to play, because what it does is it says, can we just get to the truth for once, please? Can we just chuck out all this shadow energy of lies and subterfuge and what lies beneath and who you can trust and who you can't trust? It brings trust back as a quality that we start to work on. And again, it's going to expose that which we can trust and that which we can't trust. Ketu in Scorpio is going to rattle some cages. I think it's a good one because it doesn't like this political shenanigans. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this energy of Ketu becoming very Mars-like as it moves into its own space in Scorpio, exalted in Scorpio. Remember, this is a dance that's with us for the next 18 months, so it's a long period. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And then the last thing that we've got is we are on the threshold of a full moon. As we move into October, we've got 2 full moons this month. And the first one is on the 1st of October. The second one is on Halloween, on the 31st of October. So we have a full moon for Halloween, which is a very interesting phenomenon, but I'll be back later on that. This full moon that we have is occurring in the Vedic sign of Pisces, and it is also an energy that brings sensitivity. It brings emotional depth. It brings connection. It brings connection to wisdom and universe back into the mix. It's a very, very beautiful energy, because what we see now is we see all the power of that 12th sign, which is run by Jupiter, who is now direct, and all the power of the Divine Mother, which is nurturing and nourishing and loving and guiding and supportive, and all of these just very gently beautiful energies. So as we have our full moon on the 1st of October, it's the beginning of the month as well. Give yourself some time to go into a space of meditation, go into a space of centering and reflection, because the time that we've been waiting for, which is let's wait until we get to September, it's here. So now we have to stop the waiting inside here, connect with what needs to be nurtured and nourished, connect with what is still in anxiety and tension from the last couple of months, connect and heal and release and let go and empower yourself, because we are now in the next leg of the journey. And that is just very beautiful. We obviously can't expect that we're going to have Corona disappear like this, and we're going to have the impact of Corona disappear like this. We know that there is still a way to go, but we are moving through the ground zero. We're moving out of ground zero, and we're now moving into recovery, recalibration, and reconnection. And that is beautiful. So there you have it, a very quick overview of our big planets coming out, Jupiter and Saturn coming out. Yes, it happened today. Of Mercury and Mars going into retrograde, and a heads up of what we need to be aware of over the next couple of weeks. The Rahu Ketu transit, and then of course the full moon. So if you would like to know more about any of these topics, please have a look at my Patreon channel, because I have loaded up the replays of the last couple of webinars that I've done onto Patreon, and you can hear in great detail what each one of these things brings and what it's asking of us. But I'll put the link down below, and we would love to see you. I will be back with you soon. I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know how this energy is playing out in your space. It's a much better space that we're going into than anything we've been through so far, and that is bloody brilliant. Thanks for joining me. I will be back with you soon. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye for now.